Welcome back to the Coaching Couch podcast. Today you've got a chat with me and Lewis, which pretty much happens every day. But we're going to do it in official context today and talk about coaching. So obviously, if you don't know, Lewis is my best mate. We've known each other for over a decade now.
Fucking hell.
It's a very long time. A very, very long time. Lewis started out in coaching, basically doing bit part jobs for me when I got too busy. It was my first ever hire that I made within the business. And now, actually, people know Lewis and don't know me, which is quite nice. How does
Just
that feel?
like it was at uni, mate.
That's very true. He always takes everything that I get and fucking makes it better and ruins it for me.
Yeah, happens.
I know. So tell us a little bit about your coaching program. After you stopped working with us, what was the journey from there? So
for me, it was very much, I developed, whilst I was working for you, I developed this passion for working with people on the mindset side of things. Again, I know that's such a buzzword at the minute, but actually getting down to the nitty gritty with people. So I wanted to develop something around that still helped people get in shape, because obviously, I'm sure we'll touch on it, my own transformation as well. It became very evident that was a huge aspect of it. That's where I kind of found, I guess, what differentiated me from a lot of people at the time. So I went into that. I set up Body and Brain, and it's just kind of snowballed from there, really. Obviously, I set it up a couple of months just before I had a fairly significant surgery. This year's been a learning curve for sure.
Do you think you'd have got into that kind of mindset coaching without all that happening?
Without all the heart stuff?
Because, like, I know your dad quite well, right?
Yeah.
Mindset's not really a thing in the Potts household. It's like, fucking deal with it, lad.
I would say he's definitely mellowed out in his old age, but yeah, I would say so. Yeah. So from growing up, obviously hard work was always hard work, determination, resilience, all that kind of stuff. But it's definitely something that I kind of, I think a lot of it came from my own insecurities. Obviously being in this industry, when I first got in this industry, let's not avoid the fact that I was 150 kilos.
You were fat as fuck.
Yeah, I was big.
There's a picture of Lewis somewhere where he looks like fucking Santa Claus. You do have a Santa Claus hat on, but he genuinely looks like Santa Claus.
That's my favourite photo.
I really enjoy that photo.
Yeah. And I'm on the beach in Australia with a beer in my hand.
But you
Christmas
said this before, right? You were happy at that point, weren't you?
Yeah. Of course I was, yeah. I was fat as fuck, eating, drinking, partying. Why would I not be?
So then this is what I mean. So where did that shift start happening then?
So I had a bit of an enlightening experience at a festival with you and all your mates, where I was surrounded. I got back from Australia. I'd been living the life in Australia, obviously playing very high level American football. Found out whilst I was over there that I got this heart condition, came back, visa ran out, all that kind of stuff. Whilst I'd been away, I don't know how, but you managed to make some other friends. We were at a festival with them all, and I remember being surrounded by all these people, fairly under the influence, and being like, I don't feel comfortable at all. And that was like the first time that I'd ever experienced that. So it kind of developed from there. I'm not one of those people to just like lay down and I'm not, this is my life now. I'm just like, right, fucking hell, what can I do about it? Let's go. Like, let's figure it out. And yeah, it's developed from there. So even while we were doing GRT, I was still I was working on my own shit. Then when I realized how powerful it was, it's come from there, I guess.
Go and talk us through like what happened in Australia then.
So I was playing American football, best team in Australia, captaining, just throwing that out there. The only English guy on the team, but yeah. I got picked to play for state, which is like, again, the highest level that you can play in Australia. I woke up one morning before training and I had this weird thing. And basically I tried to say a sentence and all the words came out in the wrong order. And it was like weird. I had no other symptoms. I was trying to talk. All the words came out in the wrong order. I was like, that's weird. Then it kind of subsided, went to training, like didn't think anything of it. And I got back and like my partner at the time was like, you're going to hospital. I'm like, right, okay. So we got checked up. They scheduled all the different scans, heart, arteries in my neck. They didn't tell me at the time. I think they were looking for either a blood clot, stroke, or a minor stroke. They still don't know what it was. They didn't find a blood clot, all that kind of stuff, but they did find that I had a bicuspid aortic valve, which is the main valve that pumps blood out of your heart. And because I was 150 kilos, because I'd spent 12 years DJing, partying, being a bit of a dickhead in general. And because I was playing a high intensity sport, it developed into an aneurysm in my heart, which basically, if that pops, you're done. It's the same thing that a lot of the Premiership footballers die with on the field and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So in Australia, though, the guidance was you're sound, you're fit and healthy, otherwise crack the fuck on. So that's exactly what I did. Then when I got back over to the UK, obviously I had to go into the NHS to alert them of it. They did the tests again, dragged me into the hospital and basically said, you are, the term that they used was borderline intervention. Stop everything that you're doing right now or you might die. And I was like, better stop then. Yeah, better stop then. So that's exactly what I did. American football out of the window, gym out. Again, I was training. I've never dieted up until this point, but training 5 days a week. Like we used to train together, like hard as well, not just like pussyfooting around the gym. And that all just kind of got torn away, and I was left with very much this kind of like identity crisis almost of like, right, what else have I got left then? Like what's there? So that's kind of, again, that was a monumental moment for me in this whole mindset journey of realizing that shit, you can't just be a thing. You can't just be an American footballer. You can't just be a insert whatever you want. So that's where that happened. That kind of happened after I'd already started losing the weight. So a lot of people thought that I lost the weight because of the heart scare. I was already on that journey anyway, right? You gave me a job basically and said nobody's going to trust you if you're fat. And it was kind of true.
Yeah, but the heart thing had already happened at that point though, hadn't it?
So the heart thing had happened, but they'd not told me to stop training. So I'd already started dieting after part
remember,
life.
yeah, you were still training.
So I'd started dieting, I was still training. I was already on that journey anyway. Then when I found out about the heart thing, basically all training stopped and I lost the next 55 kilos with no exercise at all, just by dieting. Along that time, obviously, the aneurysm had stopped developing, I guess, like getting worse. Obviously, I was getting regular checkups. So they basically said, oh, like, you're not in danger anymore. Don't worry about it. Like, you might have to have the surgery when you're like 50, 60 years old. And I was like, what? And live like this now and not be able to train, not be able to do it. Like, just little things like they were telling me, be careful if you get up in the night and go for a piss. You can't jump out of bed because the blood pressure might pop. And I'm so live like this for the rest of my life. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, no, fuck off. Like, not a chance. I was like, get me on that list now. And I basically had to fight that for, when was it? About a year.
It was a long time,
yeah.
It was a long time.
Constant checkups, obviously, went down the kind of like, it was affecting me mentally, all that kind of stuff. Lost a lot of like, you'll know when we used to go on nights out, I used to be a bit of a handful. But even stuff like on a night out, I'd be like, kind of, I don't want anything to get carried away because I'm a bit wary that if anything...
Yeah, because I remember, because I got jumped in a bar and you couldn't do anything.
So basically, all right, we'll tell that story. So Steve got blindsided by a 16-year-old in a bar. I was in the toilet at the time.
It was my ex's current boyfriend.
His ex wasn't 16, just to get it out there.
Yeah, let's be clear on that one. And I turned round and I don't even think it was him. I think it was his mate who punched me in the back of the head. I don't really remember what happened, to be honest with you. But
well, anyway, I've come out of the toilet and there's this big pile up on the floor and I've looked over at Shelley, our mate's missus, and she's like, oh, that's Steve. And I'm like, what?
So me and Glenn are on the floor basically bragging these kids and I'm thinking, Lewis is going to come back. And there was like 6 of them. And I'm thinking, Lewis is going to come back from the toilet any minute now and clean house here. And I was like, oh, Lewis is new Lewis.
So basically all I ended up doing was picking Steve up, putting him behind me, like the toilets were in a corridor, putting him behind me and saying, if you're going to get to Steve, you've got to come through me. And
I'm thinking, no, you move out of the way because you might fucking die.
Well, luckily the bouncers...
And Glenn's still swinging punches in the background here, like milling people down.
Yeah, so there was a lot of that, like a lot of... I knew I had to be very cautious and I was never a cautious person about anything.
Yeah.
Like, I was always just like 2 feet in, let's go. So yeah, it's that was a massive part of it, kind of coming from there. Wait, what was the question? Where are we going? Oh, what happened? So basically, I just kept fighting that, and then eventually, this surgeon agreed to meet with me, and from then we like hit it off like a fucking like it was great. Straight away, I was saying, look, get this done, like please. He was like, yeah, there's no reason not to. Obviously, you're young, fit, and healthy. We normally do this on older people, and got me on the list and. I got a phone call on like the 30th of November last year, basically saying, can you shield for the next 2 days? We're going to give you open heart surgery in 2 days. And that's pretty much what happened, yeah.
that was, see, I always, like, when it first happened, I was like, this is really similar, obviously, to what happened to me. Like, I just, one day, legs went, like, yours was actually worse, I think, because you went through that period where they were like, you've just got to do this forever. I think because, like, mine happened, so right? And I had to very quickly be like, right, this is the way it is now. And then, obviously, then the recovery, as soon as the operation's done, the recovery starts. So it immediately, you know, even though it's fucking terrible, like, right, I can't move my legs at all now. Every 4 or 5 days, it's like, right, I can move my legs a little bit more. I can do this, I can do that. Like, there was progress. Whereas yours was, how long did you do that period? Where
2.5 years from them saying stop training to getting the surgery.
Was that how long it was?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I always forget how long that was.
So I was still, so for the first, admittedly, for the first like 8 or 9 months, I was still trying to train. I was going and doing like real light shit, just feeling like I needed to do something. And it made me hate training.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fucking shit. Like, I'm going in and doing basically body pump. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So from them saying it, so me actually not training, closer to 1.5 years, but still like a fair
That's
amount of
horrible,
time.
that.
Yeah.
Because that was the worst bit. That, like, me looking at it from the outside in, like, going through something maybe not as bad, because I was never really in thing of that. Well, I was when I got the blood clot. The blood. Yeah, I always forget about the blood clot. But that period, that I reckon, was that the worst bit? Like, the year where it was like, okay, you're not going to die, but this is exactly how your life has to look for the next 30 years.
I speak about this with quite a few people, and everybody thinks that I'm being like fucking macho and stuff. I took like 2 weeks. I had like an awful 2 weeks, and then again, me being me, I was like, right, what can I do? What can I focus on now? Where can I put my attention? What can I do to change this? What can I control? That kind of shit. So I got into a rhythm of it. Don't get me wrong, it was fucking wank, not being able to do anything. Like, even stuff like some guys that I know from down south that I met traveling were like, do you want to meet at Alton Towers? I was like, I can't go on a roller coaster. So
yeah,
just
I
like,
forget loads of stuff. It's like we were going to go skiing and we're like, oh.
Yeah, can't.
Like,
yeah. So it's just little things like that. So, I mean, I had a pretty rough couple of weeks where I was very much like, oh, this is not fair, which it isn't, but so fucking what are you going to do about it? And then I just, again, me being me, just got on with it, I guess. So yeah, it wasn't easy by any stretch of the imagination, but I found ways to get through it for sure.
Because I think for me, like, that's when I really noticed that you started doing more of the mindset stuff, because I think that was where you were most challenged by it and maybe saw the benefits of.
I stand by that. Everybody that works in the coaching industry is just doing it to cover up their own insecurities.
Like, yeah. We're all fucked up.
Yeah, exactly, mate.
Everybody in the fitness industry is just a history of trauma.
Everybody that's now roided up and walking around the top off had no fucking attention. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's, well, maybe not everybody. I can't generalize that much, but
no,
everybody's.
I reckon the fitness industry is one of the most trauma-ridden industries.
Yeah, for sure.
Out of all of them,
for sure. Yeah, can't fix myself, so I'm going to fix other people.
Even like the people that you would look up to and like think like they're the worst.
Yeah.
When you actually get underneath like the surface of it, you're like, oh my god, like you're more fucked up than everyone else.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that I don't, still to this day, don't really relate with the rest of the fitness industry, is because like I'm like, why are you trying to hide that? Like, just be a human being. Like, yeah.
I think it does help your business though. Like, just being yourself.
I think it depends what type of business you've got.
I think it depends who you are, if you're yourself as well.
Yeah. There's some people we know. There's some people we know.
You should keep that hidden, mate.
You definitely can't get away with being yourself, pal.
Yeah. But they do get found out eventually. I think obviously.
Case.
Yeah. Couple.
Yeah.
But I think, but to be fair, I do think that like eventually it always comes out. Like, it's one of those industries where everyone talks and stuff like that.
Again, we definitely can't get into this, but we know it does, so.
Yeah, I'm not getting a lawsuit. Last time I got sued, I told them to fuck off, but they didn't really have any grounds.
Which time was that?
I haven't been sued for ages, you know. I haven't been sued for...
You're not trying hard enough.
I used to say this all the time. If you haven't had a lawsuit for you not being risque enough with your content.
Yeah, no, it's true.
You know what? Like, the last time I got sued, I didn't even do anything about it. The first time I got sued, I was like, oh my God, like, I've been sued. Somebody's done me for defamation and slander. Like, the last time I got a letter through, and I literally wrote an email back saying, take me to court then.
I remember the first one where we paid to get that like a formal letter written back, and we
and that's why I never did it again, because I was like
700 quid to send them a letter back. To basically tell them to fuck off.
700 quid. That's not usually the way that I deal with court cases. To be fair, either
we've got a big mate from Dave's that.
Yeah, just take the door off. Take the door off and politely ask them to drop it. It's probably the easiest way forward. But we'll try and not get involved with that anymore.
No.
Try and not do it as much. Although I think that like I feel the same way about like contracts. Do you have contracts with your clients?
I've got something in place. It's not
right. I have them, but I don't feel like I'll ever use it. There's two options. What's going to happen like with a contract? Either it'll be a circumstance out of your control, and I'll be like, just forget about it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or somebody's been a dick. And that just depends on how much they've been a dick, but not on any layer, like not on any level of that will I ever go to court. It's either it bothers me, but I don't care, and then when it crosses that line, it's you signed up with your address. Your address was on that invoice, so I'm going to leave it for long enough to where you forget about what you've done, and something bad's going to happen, and it'll be farther enough in the future to where you'll never think it was me, and I'll just be sat there like that.
Fucking pinky in the brain.
Yeah, just a lot more common.
A lot of people used to call us that, pinky in the brain.
Which one were you?
I don't know. At the time, I was a smart one.
When were you smarter than me?
What, are we really getting into this?
What, cleverer?
When street smarts.
Yeah, well, that's different.
Steve's only become Steve that you see now in the last, 3-4 years. Pretty much since I went for Australia, you pretty much had to find your own way after that, right?
Yeah, I had to look after myself.
It's got nobody else to walk him into clubs and make sure.
You were 6'4" and 150 kilos when you left. I didn't have to do shit. I was fine.
It's like, what's the George and Lenny? Of mice and
You're
men.
definitely Lenny. The rabbit's George. Yeah. See, at least we know literature.
Yeah.
See?
Them smarts.
When was the last time you read a book?
I read all the time.
Do you read all the time?
Yeah,
I never read.
Yeah.
You know when people ask me for book recommendations, I'm like, I don't have them.
I don't do personal development. There'll be the odd one that I'll listen to on Audible that a lot of people are recommending. I'm like, there's got to be something here. I read a lot of fiction. Obviously, I'm a bit of a nerd.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm more likely to read fiction than self-help books. You know, when people read, when people say they've got a massive book cabinet.
Yeah.
I always feel like that's a massive cover-up for the fact they're not very intelligent.
Yeah.
Look, I read.
Yeah.
Look at all the books that I can read. Yeah, Reese is one of them.
Yeah, it's like one of those things you pull them off the.
Tried to be a footballer, and he's now like, I reckon. Now. Look at me and all my books.
I reckon you look at if you pull one of those books off of Reese's bookshelf, there's no creases. He's not even opened it.
Biff, Chip and Kipper go to Rome.
Yeah, mate. So
it's just a fucking.
Do you know what?
It's just a forward-facing thing with some ridges on it.
Yeah. There's a few of
many
them.
leather-bound books. Have you read any of them? No.
Yeah, absolutely not. The last one that I tried to read, actually, I got the book was, I think it was like Why We Sleep or something, and I got a chapter into it. I was like, not a fucking chance. I downloaded it on Audible, listened to it on Audible. It was great.
I don't get this self-development stuff at all.
It's because you think you've got nothing to work on.
No, it's no. I don't. I get proper self-development, but I don't get this procrastinating self-development. You know, I'm going to get up and meditate and breathe, and then I'm going to get in my ice bath for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to put my blue light blockers on and
it's
read.
Getting a bit carried away, I completely admit. But I don't know, maybe if you'd have listened to my advice and got that therapy that I told you to get, you'd be a little bit more open to it.
We're here now.
Yeah. Wait, don't look at me.
Oh, no, genuinely, I don't get it. I always find the people who do the most of that do the least elsewhere.
Yeah. I mean, there are certain anomalies, right? But there always are.
But that's what I think people look at absolute, I don't want to use the word head cases because I think that's a bit rough. But they look at people who are I don't know how to say this when it's going out.
Say
to the
it,
public,
mate. Say it with your chest.
But high functioning, but not quite. I don't want to use the word normal.
Yeah.
But people who are a little bit off the beaten track with the way they live their lives and are immensely high functioning.
Yeah.
And then they try and copy what they're doing. And I'm like, their brains are not wired up like yours.
Yeah.
They do that because it helps them focus their already probably be like, obviously I've worked with a lot of kids who've got special educational needs. I've worked with high functioning autism. I've worked with kids who have Asperger's and all that kind of stuff, right? So I see it. They have to do different things to kind of, it's almost like they've got, and I might be massively out, I'm like, it's almost like they've got this massive fucking laser and they have to put all these things in it to focus it down on the one thing that they're doing. And I'm like, you're copying all their traits when you have none of their mental capability at all.
Yeah, no, I get it. Everybody works differently, right? Like I've said, again, there's nothing wrong with this whatsoever. I've said for ages, you're like that. You are like that. The way that you think and the way that your thought processes work, you're not normal in any way, shape or form. But a lot of people think, like you said, you look at these people, I need to do all this. Because of the kind of mentorships that I'm a part of and stuff like that, I'm surrounded by high flying people that do that shit every day. They're not posting it on Instagram. Like they're not like they do that stuff every day. But then you see the other people, like you said, you see people on social media. Look at me in my ice bath. It's like, I guarantee you're in that for 3 seconds. You stop the video and you fucking got out and you like. Do you know what I mean?
Get up and walk my dog and then I start work.
Same, mate. Coffee, gym, work. Done.
That's all I do for a morning routine.
Yeah.
Won't sell anything. Like.
Yeah.
Can't sell anyone on it. It doesn't make anything special. But again, like, you know, I've got mates who are millionaires. Don't get up before 9 o'clock.
Do you know what it is? And I had a conversation with somebody about this yesterday, is everybody is looking for that fucking secret, for that little tip, for that little hack, when they're avoiding the fact that it's just hard work. Just like,
and you know what as well? Like some people are just different.
Yeah.
Like some people are just, you look at, I'm going to copy his routine because I'm like, he's a billionaire. Some people are billionaires because they're built differently.
Yeah.
Like, and you know what? Like some people just aren't special either. Like some people are not. Most of the people that I speak to about business, I'm like very unimpressed by. But then certain people, like I've spoke to people who are really, really, really high level and I almost can't fathom it to the point where I'm not going to try and copy them because I just get that their brains work differently. Like sometimes I've walked away from conversation, I've been like, my brain really hurts.
Would you say, and I think we might disagree a little bit on this one, would you say that those people that you were unimpressed by at first, do you reckon they've got the potential to actually develop into something?
I think some of them are too set in the ways to do so. I think that some of them I'm very unimpressed by, even though they've actually achieved things. But like on a personal level, I speak to them and there's just nothing about them that takes me aback. I never walk away thinking, oh my God, that person's brilliant.
No, I get that. Would you say that that's it though? That's it for them? Or would you say that with a bit of work, with a bit of...
Yeah, but then I think that comes with the understanding that they would have to acknowledge that about themselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of them don't.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of them think they're special. And they've done very well, don't get me wrong, but I think a lot of people stop their own personal development far too early.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people, especially in business, make a bit of money, get further than the other people around them, and then immediately assume that they know more than everyone else and then don't progress further.
Yeah, I get you. There's a lot to be said for self-awareness, and it's one of the hardest things. Like this whole, again, cliche, this whole like looking at yourself in the mirror and actually seeing what's fucking there, like objectively. There's a lot to be said for being self-aware and developing self-awareness. And it doesn't happen by chance. Like you have to be willing to say, fuck, I'm not what I think I am. But
I think that depends on who you surround yourself with as well, because I genuinely feel like you've got to keep people with you that have always been your friends previously, because it keeps you grounded, and they're the first people that'll tell you like, you're fuck all, mate. You're like the same kid that we knew. Like,
I swear that's why you keep me around.
Yeah,
I'm the only person that gives
you. Mate. But you know when you hear this like change your circle, cut out everyone that like,
it's bullshit. Mate.
You know what it says to me? You're surrounding yourself with fucking yes men who blow smoke up your ass.
Yeah.
If you have to change your whole circle as you become successful, your circle probably actually told you things about yourself that you didn't want to believe.
Exactly that.
And you've got such a high opinion of yourself that instead of actually thinking, maybe these people that are telling me that I've not quite made it and I should be more humble and I should really think about working on these things as well as acknowledging my success. They go, no, fuck that. I don't want anyone to challenge me in my life. I am the best person and I will surround myself with a bunch of people who will tell me I am the best and feed my ego. And I feel like that's what a lot of people do. I feel like a lot of people get rid of everyone around them that's actually going to tell them the truth to the faces and will actually surround themselves with people that will just blow smoke up their ass. And when the second you do that, I think is the second you stop developing.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's just it, and it's it's such a thing that you hear thrown around in the industry. Like, so I get it, right? There's certain situations, but a lot of these people aren't talking about those certain situations. They're not talking about toxic relationships and people like trying to take money off them and people taking advantage of them. A lot of them are talking about people who tell them the fucking truth about themselves and they don't want to hear it. And I think that that's one of the biggest issues at the top of this industry, is that there's a lot of people who don't want to hear the truth about themselves and are almost use where they are to like muffle it. They're I'll just get more people who say nice things about me so I don't have to listen to the rest of it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But that's a very, very long conversation.
Yeah, mate, we've not got that long.
We do, but we'll move on from that. So obviously you found out that about your health, that changed your mentality, that pushed you towards doing the mentality stuff.
Yeah.
What was it like as a business owner at that point?
So I don't think a lot of people realize this. I pretty much, when I was working for you, obviously I was really in depth with the actual coaching of stuff. I was helping out the other coaches in the group program, that kind of stuff. I had no real clue about the business. Whilst you told me what was happening with the business, I was never involved in like any business decisions, etc. And rightly so, it wasn't my business.
I mean, that was probably one of the most, well, to be fair, I don't think we had the team that I really could. No, like being truthfully honest, I don't think we had the caliber of team members at the time for me to actually require anyone else to help me make a decision.
Yeah, no, I think completely
now it's
agree. So for me as a business owner, like I said, like I was about to say, it was, when did we stop GRT?
I don't remember.
It was,
there's a post somewhere. There's a date stamp on it.
Maybe September, October last year. So
I'd exited like way before that.
Yeah. We'd got to the point where we had obviously.
I was doing like a meeting a week, I think. For a long time.
Still, even up until that point, like I had no business knowledge. I'd not even got my own like Stripe account. Do you know what I mean? Like I was working for you as a self-employed coach. So I only started this whole business thing in October. Let's say, I'm pretty sure it was around October because I basically...
That was really quick then before you got the surgery. You had the surgery in
December. I set up Body and Brain in November. I remember getting my logo back. I was still in the hospital bed.
Yeah.
Like, so I've only been doing this business thing since, let's say, December to February. I was a fucking vegetable.
Like, you were like working like a week afterwards though, weren't you?
I had to.
Yeah, that's true.
I genuinely had to. Like, what am I going to do? Like, luckily, obviously, I've got loyal clients that I've been working with for a while. So I wasn't going to have to take a month off and I wasn't going to be broke, right? I'm lucky enough that I had to move back to my parents for the recovery. So I was working out of bed, literally dosed up on painkillers, but I had to. So I've only been doing this business thing since, let's say, January this year, because December I was like, 2nd of December was my surgery, a week in hospital after, and then 3 weeks dosed up to my eyeballs on painkillers. So I've only been doing this shit since January. I'm not, I know we've got clients in the mentorship that I've been doing this since they were 15 years. I've never had to make a business decision until I decided that I was going to pay somebody for a logo. Do you know what I mean? like in November last year. So yeah, it was, again, a very steep learning curve. And at first as well, I was just emulating stuff that I'd seen you do. Like I wasn't even really using you as a mentor at first. I was very much just like, I need to get this up and running. Once I had some legs, that's when I came to you and I was like, right, I actually need to start to learn this shit now. Like, yeah.
I think it's cool how you've got a very different business though, because it would have been really easy for you to just replicate doing exactly the same stuff that we did. And you know, you had access to all this stuff. Like it probably would have been easier for you.
Yeah.
There's the email list, there's the Facebook group, there's the logo, there's the branding, do it yourself. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
It was a big risk to do because I gave you the option to just carry on doing what you were doing.
Yeah.
So like for you to take the risk and start a whole new business like a month before open heart surgery was pretty big. What
I mean, at the time I didn't know I was going to have open heart surgery a month later. Right? I was just still on a waiting list. So it was very much just, you will be getting this surgery. You are on a waiting list. We don't know when it is. Obviously, the way that it works is if there's people that are a higher priority, higher risk, they get slotted in front of you. It's the same reason I only got 3 days notice to get the surgery. Well, no, it's 5 because if you remember that I was meant to be getting it on the Wednesday, it got cancelled. My surgeon wasn't feeling well, so he cancelled the surgery and pushed me back 2 days. So I only actually had 5 days of, because I remember I rang you when I got that phone call. I remember, and I don't mind opening up about this. I remember I rang you crying they'd rang me and said, we've got an opening. Do you want open heart surgery in 3 days? And I was like, fuck. Like, so
what was the major feelings at that point? Because obviously you were waiting for the surgery. You wanted the surgery.
Yeah. It just, this is going to sound so cliche. It became very real.
I can imagine when someone's like,
it was the risk of the surgery being successful was fairly low, but still, mate, someone's cracking your ribs open, quite literally switching your heart off, putting you on a bypass machine and getting to work. So like, there was no real fear. I'd like, it was just very much like, here we go. Like more, I wouldn't say fear. I wouldn't say anything like that. It's just more a massive rush of emotion. It was like, right, let's get this done. So bit of excitement in there. Yeah, it was weird.
I mean, I've never really experienced anything at that level. Like it was.
So I remember I rang my dad, and he just said, "Do whatever you've got to do." And then I spent like 10 minutes literally like crying, and then I rang you, and you were just like, "Get it fucking done." And I was like, right, okay.
Yeah, but that's because I had known. I'd spoke to you like nearly every week about it. Because they were on about like, they gave you the option, didn't they? They said, do you want to come in and get it done?
Yeah, they basically said, let us know if you want to come in and get it done. If not, we'll offer it to the next person on the list.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and you were like, oh, I'm not really sure because I've only just started the business and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'd obviously like for like 2 years, you were like, I can't wait to get this surgery done. I can't wait to get back on recovery. I
think at that time, I think I said that. Again, I just started the business. I had loyal clients. Like, I think at that point I was trying to look for a way out. Do you know what I mean? Like, not to.
I needed do it because of work.
I can't do this. Yeah. Oh no, I'll just wait. I'll keep waiting. But like when you literally said, get it fucking done, and I was like, right, okay. And then I rang them back, and yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very, very like fast. Everything's been really fast moving. Obviously, like you weren't in the fitness industry,
no,
at all.
2020 June, I was happy running a bar for the rest of my life.
And you'd never really given any thought?
Nah, never. I loved training. I hated dieting. Like, it was
which is very funny because now your program is pretty much based upon the opposite.
Yeah. No, true. I mean, obviously there's aspects of exercise training. I'm not one of those people that pushes.
No, for sure. But for where it was previously, which was like, it's all about going to the gym.
But again, I do think to myself, is that because I did that? Is that because that I had to lose all training and my personal focus was all on food and mindset? Is that why I now work with people on their relationship with food and mindset? Probably. Is that why my programming is, in the grand scheme of things, fairly basic? Probably, because I've realized that you don't need, for the type of people that I work with, people that have maybe never been to the gym before or just want to go to the gym because they know it'll help, basic programming will do the job. I don't need to be I don't need to know all this shit. Like, as much as it'd be cool to have somebody, I've got a couple of clients that are on muscle build that I don't really talk about, like that I've been working with for a long time. I get to do the funky shit with those, but you know as well as I do, like you don't need flashy training, you don't need flashy anything.
Yeah, no,
it's just more social media shit being forced down everybody's throat, right?
Do you feel like you've had an advantage in the market that you've got? Because typically the kind of coaches that coach your kind of clients shy away from the business side of things quite a lot. Yeah,
100%. 100%. I've said it a couple of times. I'm very much just like, what needs to be done, let's do it. Both feet in. So I'm happy learning. I would say one of my biggest kind of strengths as a coach is that I'm the first person to say I don't know a fucking thing about anything. Yeah. And I'm always like, right, I don't know. What do I need to know? Like, let's go, let's get it done. Whereas a lot of people, I feel like my business personality is nothing like my coaching personality. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Your coaching personality, you have to be empathetic. I have to be compassionate. I have to be all those things. My business thing, I'm still right. What have I got to do? Cutthroat. Let's get it done.
Yeah. I think that's the difference that you've got, maybe coming from the background of either working with us or just even before the whole heart thing happened of the way you were in sport and things like that.
I would say it's everything. I'd say I've got my dad to thank massively for it. Like, he got fucked over by his employer a long time ago, set up his own business, and I've just seen, I've had that to emulate. And then obviously I through sport, I was always willing to put more, I don't want to say more work in than anybody, but we played sport together, right? I was always like up there. And then obviously again, went to Australia, worked my way up there, came back, and then I saw you do it again with business. And I was like, all right, hard work, effort, that's it. I can control that. Let's go.
I remember your mum and dad do you remember your mum and dad sitting us down at that burger place in Didsbury when I tried to get you to leave Oaxaca? And I think your mum and dad were like, no, are you fuck going with?
I think that's more because they didn't trust you.
No, exactly. They didn't. I know for well they didn't. I remember sat across the table with your mum and dad, and your dad literally went, "Are you sure you know what you're doing?" And I'm like, I was right up until Tony put it on me at that point. And at that point, I was like, well, not now you fucking said it to me like that. No, do any of us know what we're doing?
Yeah,
because that was probably like,
that's it. I mean, completely different.
That was probably the least sure of myself I've ever been in business at any point.
But my dad and your dad are very similar like that. It's probably why we're so close. Maybe there's got to be an aspect of that in it. But it is like, if when he asked you that question and if you'd have said yeah, it'd have taken your word for it. It's like, okay. No,
I know it was just obviously because it was your dad and he sat me down and was like, "Are you sure about this?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah. I don't remember that. I don't remember. I remember we went to, what was it called? Salita.
It was Salita.
I remember we went for food. I don't remember the conversation again.
I just remember the whole mood was like, we're not fucking, your mum and dad, the whole mood was like, we're not sure about this. Like, we don't think this is a good idea.
And again, not that he'd ever been in a conversation with you to tell you this. He's like, when I told him about the mentorship thing, he was like, yeah, go for it. Yeah. He said he's proved himself. He's never let you down before. Like, and that's very much like whenever you tell me to do something. Now you'll admit, and I'll be the first to admit, I used to question everything, absolutely everything. When you're like, this is why we're doing this. I'd be like, now you tell me to do something, I'm like, right, okay, let's go. Right.
I feel like I've had to work hard for that. Like, I think Shannon was the same. Like when we've said to do certain things with her business, she's like, everything you've said has worked so far, so I'm just going to do it now and stop questioning.
But again, that goes back to what I said about you kind of thinking on different levels, and I've accepted that now. I'm like, well, he sees something I don't. He's not let me down yet. Let's just do this.
Yeah, I feel like it's quite hard to get across. I mean, I think it's different for you because you know that I've got your best interests at heart. Yeah. But sometimes, like, when I say things to people like, listen, you need to do it this way, I find it very difficult to be like, I'm doing this for you. Like, I'm there's no skin off my back if you don't do it. But like, this is why. And they go, no. Like, it won't happen like this. And I'm like, all right, but I hate to like do that.
We'll see in 3 months.
Yeah, I know. But it's just one of those things. But obviously I think you've had so much success because you are just open to being like, and it's not just me that's like helped you with it. Like, you've had loads of other people that have like, especially with the coaching side of things, have helped you massively. Like, your coaching is so far beyond like what I taught you. Yeah.
I still use a lot of the same, like, the physical side of things is still very similar. But
but there's like, I'd say like 70% of your coaching style has nothing to do with me now.
It's probably a good job.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, to be with the kind of people that you work with, more than likely.
Yeah. But no, I agree.
It's been a very long journey. Hopefully
fast journey.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, again, going from not being in the industry like 3-4 years ago,
two and a bit years ago.
Was it 2 and a bit years
2020,
ago?
Yeah, it was 2020.
Wow.
No, 2019. Yeah, it was 2019 because it was just before obviously the pandemic kicked off.
And it's cool for me now because like, you're actually quite a respected coach.
Oh, can we get a recording? Oh, it's no. We are recording. That's
it is. Yeah,
Steve don't say nice things.
Everyone keeps saying this, and maybe if everyone's saying it, then I need to listen. Don't I?
I'm just waiting for you to.
We'll wrap it up there before it becomes about me because we're not getting into therapy live on camera. I've done one of them this year, and it was far too much for me.
Wait, what?
One. What?
That one therapy session that you went to?
No, I did a podcast a while ago. With the total mental performance guy.
Right. Yeah.
It just turned into an hour's worth of therapy. You should have charged me for it, to be fair. But I was like, right, that's enough. That's a lifetime's worth of therapy done. Wash my hands of it. Over.
What were you saying about people that just give up on their own personal development?
Yeah, that one. I'll just put that one back underneath. Sweep that one back under the rug and forget about it. But
cut that.
So, if people listen to this and want to find out a little bit more about your business works, obviously I think for a lot of holistic coaches, there's probably some things that they could pick up from the way that you do things that would help them with their business. How are they going to find you?
Instagram is @Lewis_body and brain, LEWIS. And I've got bodyandbraincoaching.co.uk.
Thank you very much. Join us next time.